Welcome to the Raise Your Energy podcast. We are just days away from a new year, so this is a great time to reflect and celebrate the last 12 months. I created a guide with all the powerful self-coaching questions that I like to use for this kind of reflection. Stay tuned to find out more about this guide and how it can help you. In a couple of days, we are closing off 2021. And instead of rushing to the new year, I would like to reflect and celebrate the last 12 months with you. In next week's episode, we will focus on 2022 and what we can do to set ourselves up for success. And to go along with these two episodes, I created for you the Reflect and Reset guide. This is not the typical goal setting you might find at work or in a weekly magazine. Instead, it focuses much more on you. Working through this guide will give you great insights for yourself, which will help you plan for 2022 with so much more fun and energy. How about some planning ahead for more fun and energy in your life? Sounds good? Great! You can find the link to the guide in the show notes. Make sure to get it. Okay, so let's reflect and celebrate the last 12 months. Because quite often we miss taking the time to reflect and learn from past experiences. Maybe we just want to move on, start the new year and promise to do it better this year. That's quite dismissive of the growth we have gone through in the last year. And instead of celebrating and honoring it, we focus on the goals or things we did not achieve. And therefore we just dismiss the whole year. Maybe this is you, maybe not. But even if you think that the last year was pretty good or even great, by taking the time to reflect on it deeper, you can gain even more great insights for yourself. Some of us might not want to look back yet because there are still some emotions attached to certain events. And reminding ourselves of these events might still be painful or uncomfortable. I totally get that. Maybe you can still go through the reflection of the year, but more from an observer's perspective. Observing yourself as a dear friend that just wants the best for you. It might uncover some insights that can actually help you to turn these memories into wisdom much quicker than you thought it would take. Or you can just tell me, Linda, this is not gonna happen. I am done with 2021 and let's move on. Hey, that is okay too. If this is what you want or need, just jump to the second part of the guide. Be kind to yourself and at the same time see where you can step a bit out of your comfort zone. This is all for your own good and your personal growth. You want to do this exercise for yourself and not for anyone else. Going through this reflection process means that you can let go of some failures and defeats of the year. Maybe it feels then more easy instead of carrying it with you into the new year. This is extra baggage that will just get heavier and heavier each year, just because you might not want to look at it. Take the opportunity to lose some of this extra weight, and your steps into 2022 will be much lighter. I want you to take some proper reflection time. So download the guide and write down your answers in the document. But while we are together now, let's go through the questions so I can give you some further guidance on each of them. We start by taking stock of the main events that have happened in the last 12 months. Choose events that are meaningful to you. Don't classify events as important or not important through the judgment of others. Write everything down in your private life and your professional life. Everything that comes to your mind that is meaningful and impactful. Then we are going to reflect on these events and look for lessons in them. Have you gotten any learnings out of these events? Something that you could use in the future. Maybe you got to build a new strength out of a very difficult situation. That's fantastic. Next time something similar happens, you have a new resource that you can fall back to. Next, we are going to focus on your energy throughout the year. First, we are focusing on what has given you energy. So what have you enjoyed doing in 2021 so much that you would like to continue having it or doing it in 2022? Anything that comes to mind that makes you feel good and energizes you. We want to make sure we remember and plan for it again in the new year. Next, we are looking to the other side and ask ourselves where we spend or even wasted a lot of our energy. And if we find areas, we want to ask ourselves if we could let go of them and leave them behind. Maybe there is a step we want to take in the new year to avoid it in the future. It's always good to ask ourselves, how could that look like? What would need to happen to leave it behind? So then we can assess if it is something we want to go for. We can always decide not to, but just assessing how it could look like can give us an idea for the future. Then we are moving on to reflecting one more time on 2021 and ask ourselves if there's anything else we are holding on to that is taking up space in our lives. And we want to look at various places. Maybe it is something in the physical world, maybe in our relationships. But we want to look as well at our thoughts, our beliefs, and our feelings. Anything that is taking up a lot of space and energy that we actually don't want to spend. And at the end of part 1, we can then ask ourselves what we would like to do with that extra space and energy in our lives once we can let it go. This is a fun part where we can start imagining for 2022. So there you go. This is the end of part 1. So sign up for the complete guide so you have all of these questions in one space, and for you to take your notes and reflections of the year. Next week I will guide you through the second part of the guide, but of course feel free to complete it already once you download the guide. All the guidance you really need is inside. I hope you can give yourself the present of insights through this exercise. I know I love doing it and find it inspirational to come back to it 6 or 12 months later. So you might want to save it in a good space for you to look back at it. And with that, I love you and leave you. Talk soon and bye-bye.